We'll gather round, feel the love compound. Blue elephant is strong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are going to be making some country style Christmas tree ornaments today. So I've got these little wooden slices that I thought would be absolutely perfect for it, along with some of these gorgeous rub-on stickers that I fell in love with back for the fall kind of things that we were doing. Had to get the Christmas ones too, right? First thing that we're going to do, because we will be using resin here later on, is we are going to seal the top and the sides of these with some gloss varnish. Now, the reason I'm doing it is, once we put the resin on, we're going to have an issue with bubbles because this is just unfinished wood. You know, there's nothing, it's just dried wood slices. That's it. Right? So we are going to be resining, and we don't want an issue with a lot of bubbles that it's going to release, so that's why we're doing it. Now, I am doing the side, not because I plan on doing a flood coat, because I don't. I'm just going to do a top coat, but because the bark on it is, in certain spaces, it's like a little bit loose, and I'm hoping that it'll kind of help hold it on a little bit better, if that makes sense. So we're going to try, see how it works, and just go from there. Plus, we're going to get that really pretty glossy effect from it as well. Now, I am just doing one coat. You could do more than one if you want. I'm just going to do one. I think one will be fine. I've never done more than one, so I've never had an issue with bubbles being released from it doing just one coat. But again, it could depend on the whatever you're using as far as to what you need to do for you. And then we're going to let these dry. Now, after they're dry, what I want to do is, I thought it would be really cute to have kind of just some snowflakes in the background. So I got this stencil, and at first I started thinking, okay, I'm just going to use like different style snowflakes, and we're going to do this and this and this. And then I was like, nah, it's too much work. I'm not doing it. So I ended up going with just kind of a more basic, simple style snowflake, and that's what we're going to use. I did go, and that first one that I did, I fixed it later on and just did it over top of it with just the one that I'm using so it doesn't look out of place. Now, I'm going to be honest, at this point, well, not at this point, but once I'm done getting them all kind of drawn on, when I go to paint it, I I kind of screwed up a little bit here, and I applied it really really thick. Well, first what I did was, I had some gloss varnish left over in my little cup. So I decided that I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to mix the paint in with it. That's fine. That's not an issue. Where I screwed up, and I shouldn't have done it, is I thought I want these to have some sparkle to them, right? So I thought, instead of sprinkling glitter on or whatever later on, I'm going to mix it in with it. And hey, let's use some of that Unicone crushed crystal. I mean, it's super crazy sparkly, right? Like it'll be great. So I put a lot in there. I mean, a lot, which in turn made my paint super chunky and thick. And then, like that wasn't enough, I realized that it didn't do anything. The paint just completely covered it up. Then I added a bunch of glitter to it, and that didn't do anything. So then it was like super, super too thick. So I had to thin it out some. So I added some more of the gloss varnish to it. It was just a whole thing. I would just bypass everything that I did, with the exception of just use the paint, and then we'll get the sparkle on after, because honestly all I did was waste a bunch of product, and it was just stupid because none of it worked out anyway. And then what happened is, because it was still so thick and it wasn't just like normal acrylic paint, honestly, I it the texture on it made me have an issue with my stickers later on, that I didn't realize until way later on. And it was just, It was just a whole thing that could have been avoided, but you live and you learn. You know, I thought something was going to work out. It didn't. So I've learned my lesson from it. All in all, it's still fine. It will be fine in the end. But I could have saved myself a whole lot of trouble and product if I'd have just done paint to begin with. Now, I did apply it thick because of all the stuff that I had in it, and kind of thinning it out a little bit with the gloss varnish kind of took away from the opacity of the white paint. So I did apply it too thick, which means it's raised up from the wood as opposed to what it would have been just more of a surface, flatter finish had I just used straight acrylic paint. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I'm gonna finish painting these up. I will be back when we're ready to add our transfer stickers.
Time for family gatherings around the tree. Bobby and Sue, as good as can be. Milk and cookies near the pine, waiting for Santa in a festive line. Chatter and laughter fills the air, stockings hung with tender care. Lights are twinkling pure and bright, Santa's sleigh in the frosty night. Ho, 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 we sing with cheer, Santa's coming, we know he's near. Under the tree, the gifts will lie, it's a magical night, no need to deny. Bobby whispers in a quiet tone, Sue's excitement surely shown. Mom and Dad with smiles so wide, in this
right.
moment no
It's
one
all
can hide.
completely painted. It's dry. Well, it's not dry yet. This is what you should do. So I wanted the sparkle on there. I didn't necessarily want it over everything. I wanted to make sure that these stood out on their own. So all I did was take some of my, I think it's called Crystal Diamonds or something like that by Solon, and I sprinkled it over top of the wet paint. So this way, when the paint dries, the glitter will stick to it. And then I'm just kind of dabbing it so I'm not wasting a whole lot of glitter, you know, more than I've already wasted, and let that dry. Now, these are completely dry now. It is time to start getting our images. I want to go country. Now, for the most part, this entire sticker pack is aimed towards that more country kind of Christmas look. There are some that are not, but I want to make sure that for this, it has that country feel because that's the vibe that I just want this time. So I've already kind of picked out in my head a bunch of them to use, and then we'll kind of add and fill up some spaces here later on once we get the main ones in. Now, here is where that whole paint debacle is going to cause an issue. And I didn't necessarily think about this, even at this point, that the uneven surface that I have is gonna cause me such a problem later on when I add the resin. So I'm just kind of sort of figuring out where I want them to go, and then I'm applying them, right? And for these ones, these are slightly different than, or at least it could be the surface now. It could be. I did never use those other ones on wood, so it could be the wood surface that is making them a little bit harder to go on. But I had to rub these much harder than I did the actual, like the fall Thanksgiving ones that I had before. Again, it could be just the surface that I'm applying it to, the unevenness that I'm applying it to. They did not lay down flat. Like, they appeared that they were laying down flat, but they absolutely did not, which caused, once I put the resin on later on, it caused some of the pieces, the ends to come up, and just, no matter how hard I tried after that point, after you get the resin on it, if they're coming up, like, you're screwed. And I sat there and I tried for like 10-15 minutes to get them to go back down and to lay flat, and they would, and then they would just pop back up again. This is after it had been setting for a while. So make sure, I don't know if I could have avoided it. Maybe if I had pushed down and rubbed down on them more so than what I did. I don't know. But yeah, learn from my mistakes. Don't don't do this. Make sure that you have rubbed them down really, really well. And if your surface is uneven, make sure you're really pushing it down there and there's no air bubbles underneath, because once that resin gets up underneath of there, there's just no hope for them at that point. I mean, we're gonna fix them later on, but you'll see what I'm talking about after we are done with this part, and I show you once they're cured. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this up. I will be back when we're ready for the resin.
Stockings hanging by the fire, waiting for the magic storm. Children's eyes wide open bright, too excited for the night. Santa's sleigh up in the sky, reindeer flying way up high. Cookies on a plate so neat, milk beside them such a treat. Oh, the stockings wait to fill, hearts with joy they start to spill.
Okay.
Dreams
So
big
for
they
this, we are
couldn't
using Let's
hide.
Resin's tabletop
Wishes
resin.
floating
Now this is
through the night.
because I'm just doing a top coat, nothing crazy. I want a super, super thick resin for this, and I thought this is the way to go. So we are going to just make up a little bit of this, and even though I think I made like maybe 40 mils, and I really thought that that would be like a good amount, I still ended up with quite a bit left over, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, so I'm going to mix this up, and then I am going to put this in my bubble remover. Now, I want to see, because this is such a high viscosity resin, I want to see if it works on it. I told you guys I wanted to play around with it and see if it's going to work not just on their regular epoxy resin, but on other viscosities too. Now, even though I did such a small amount, and I think it was, like I said, only maybe like 40 mils, maybe 60 at the most, and you can see I'm mixing it up with my hand. I am not using anything else. I am going to divide it into 2 separate cups, and that is because I want it to have not so far to travel up for those bubbles, so that I will have an easier time removing them and all that good stuff. And it did. It removed it really, really, really well. My video cut off like right at the end. I don't know. It's fine. Okay, now it is time to top coat these, and just like I said, small amount. I'm not doing anything crazy, trying to avoid the little holes that are already there so I don't have to re-drill those out later on. And that's it. Now, these ones actually, as far as the levelness, turned out fine. My table, my husband and I had switched around because my craft room right now is in the living room, which thank God once we move, I'm doing this voiceover before we've signed our papers, but once we move, I will have an actual proper craft room, like my own office. Like, you don't even understand how excited I am. You really don't understand how excited my husband is either, because he's like, all your resin crap can get out of the living room now. Anyway, so we had moved my table when we were redoing our living room, and I guess my floor is uneven. And so where my table was level before, it is no longer level, and everything kind of slides backwards. So I was really worried that I was going to have an issue with these, that I was going to have a whole lot of leakage and just running over and all of that and just unevenness. Thank God I didn't. I mean, I did have where it filled a few of those holes, but that's fine. I can deal with that. There was not a lot of spill off though, which is fantastic. Anyway, finish just top coating these, and I did not put any kind of glue or tape or anything like that around the edges, so if it runs over, like, it's running over. There's not going to be any saving the resin from going underneath, which is kind of sort of a reason why I didn't put them up on cups, because I thought, okay, well, if I can just leave them here, if it runs, yes, it'll get on the back of the wood, but I won't have the drips. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't have latex. I'm not going to purchase latex when PVA glue works perfectly fine for it, and I'm sure it's a lot cheaper. So I didn't know if I could put the glue on the wood with and it'd be able to peel off like it does resin. And I didn't want to mess them up, so I'm just going to take my chance here, hit them real quick with the heat gun. Now this is what I'm talking about. I don't know how well you can see. I'm trying to point out where those stickers rose. See it, like that one was really bad, where it rose up. I Two of them were pretty okay. It's the other three that just weren't. So the only way, I mean, there's a couple ways I could have done it. I'm cutting off those big chunks now. I'm going to file them down to make them as smooth as possible. Obviously, we're going to get that kind of foggy look from where I'm filing them, but I am doing it when I go get my file. I am only going over that area and not off to the sides of it so I don't mess up the finish on the rest of it. Now, I could have 100% done another coat on top of this to make it smooth. Could have, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I did not. I thought about it for a half a second, and maybe if I wasn't in the process of my life right now where I am, where I have to worry about packing and moving, and I'm trying to get ahead on videos so that you guys have, you know, something to watch over the next couple weeks so I don't have to stress about this and all of the other stuff. I was like, I don't have the time to do it. Like, I need to get these videos out. So I'm not going to do it. But what I am going to do is we're going to add some rhinestones to these. And what I'm hoping to accomplish by doing this is to draw your eye somewhere other than those points where those little sanded areas are. And if I can do that, then maybe you won't notice as much. I mean, they're really not that bad. Like, if you know they're there and you're looking for them, yes, you can absolutely see them. But if you don't, and adding this to it, unless you're like right up on it looking for it, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do. I've decided that I'm going to add something to all of the snowflakes, whether it be on all the tips or just in the center or whatever. I'm going to mix it up for each of them and then add a little bit here and there to the other ones just to bring out some special areas on them. And then after we're done with this, we're going to add the ribbon and then we're going to be done with it. And that's it. All in all, like even right now, I think they are so adorable. Like, I don't do much of the country vibe. Like, that's never been my thing, really. But I'm finding myself, and I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or my tastes are changing or whatever, but I'm finding myself liking it more and more and more, like, as I'm making things and seeing things. Like, I really kind of am starting to dig this whole sort of country type vibe. Like, I think it's kind of cool. So, anyway, I'm going to finish this up. And then I'll be back when we're ready to add the ribbon, drill the holes, and do a little something else with them.
Birds are trimmed with twinkling lights, snowflakes falling pure and white. Old red trucks with pine trees loaded, country Christmas hearts unfolded. Wood stove crackles warmth inside, dusty roads with horse-drawn rides. Friends and family gather round in this small beloved town. Christmas in the country, where love is always near. Old traditions echo, and memories we hold dear. Trucks filled with trees, arms are close so bright. In the heart of the countryside, our spirits rise tonight. Ribbons tied on bales of hay, neighbors waving, kids at play. Carolers singing soft and low by the fields where winters glow. Handmade stockings by the fire reflect our hopes and our desires. Silent night upon the hill, peaceful, tranquil, calm and still. Christmas in the country, where love is always near. Old traditions echo, and memories we hold dear. Trucks filled with born to glow so bright. In the heart of the countryside, our spirits rise tonight. Christmas in the country, where love is always near. Old traditions echo, and memories we hold dear. Trucks filled with trees, born to glow so bright. In the heart of the countryside, our spirits rise tonight.
All right, so that's done. I let them dry. Now it's time to re-drill these holes. Now this is the Let's Resin. It's like the cordless drill or whatever, and it comes with a bunch of different size drill bits and all that good stuff. And I've used it, I think, once or twice before. I really like this a lot. Like, it's just the perfect size, whatever. I did have too small of a drill bit in there, so I did have to go and switch it out for the larger one. And it perfectly drilled them. Fantastic. Love it. Absolutely love it. And, you know, as I was doing this, my husband's like, "What's that noise?" And he's like, "Oh my God, I am so proud of you. You're actually drilling your own holes." Because up until this point, especially last year, or any time that I had to have a hole drilled, I made him do it. Because I was too scared to mess it up. But anyway, all right, so I decided that I'm going to go, since it's pretty much predominantly white, the kind of crystal rhinestones and some silver in there, I decided I'm going with the red ribbon that I have now. Ideally, I wish it had silver edges or it was just straight red, but it does have the gold on it. It's fine. I didn't have one or the other, so this is what I'm going to use. And I'm just kind of putting it in there. Now, after I tie all of these on, and I wish I would have had this thought prior to, but I didn't. I had these little silver bells, and I thought that they would look really cute on there too. And this is why I wish I would have had it done prior to me tying the knot, because I didn't feel like unknotting them all and then sliding it on. Because it would have slid on perfectly just down the ribbon before I tied it, and then it would have been attached that way, as opposed to me having to get another little piece of ribbon, tie it on, cut off the edges, and then eventually, after I'm done doing all of this, because I am worried that it's going to come loose, I just take a little bit of E6000 glue and kind of dab it on all of the sides. Hopefully that'll keep it from, you know, coming off and those bells falling off. Anyway, all in all, I think these turned out adorable. I wish that I had a tree set up now that I could show you guys on the tree, but I do not. It's way too early in the year, and again, you know, that would be kind of stupid for me to have the tree up right now in a lot of different ways. Anyway, that is a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you all on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue Elephant Crew, this one's up for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow.